Hey everybody, welcome to the Joy Light Project, and today I would like to talk to you about common sense, and in that, what does it mean for living our lives and bringing more joy and light into our lives? So how can common sense help us? Common sense can help us by having us take a step back and say, what does it mean to be a human being, and what does a human being need to thrive? We live in a world where everything is really outside of ourselves. There's so much going on. We are pulled and pulled and spinning, and there's stress everywhere, and everybody is looking for a way to take those stress levels down, and I'll give you a technique for that as part of today's talk, brief talk. I try to keep it brief. And so I'll give you a technique for that, but let's just go into thinking for a moment from a common sense standpoint about what it means to be a human being. Think about the world around us. Think about how we're pulled in our lives. We know that the way we live our lives, for the most part in our society, it's a quick fix society. We want instant gratification in various ways. Some people are willing to work really hard for things. Other people less so, right? And there are elements of human nature in that. But let's think about what we can do to help ourselves. So, from the standpoint of being an excellent human being in this world, we have to first look at ourselves before we can help somebody else if we're a caretaker or we're in that type of practice. So, and we also have people who are just caught up so much in the world around us that everybody needs to take a step back. From a common sense standpoint, what does a human being need to thrive? Simple question, right? Maybe, but I don't know that even if we recognize it, if we live that way. We need good food, we need oxygen, we need air, we need sunshine, we need sleep, we need physical activity, we need social environment, and those are, I guess, some of the most fundamental ones. And we talked a little bit about that in the Art of Good Living in that little introductory talk. So when it comes to food, again, let's use common sense, right? You could say Mother Nature, you could say God, you could say the universe, whatever floats your boat, but food was put on this planet for the human being to eat. Do most of us eat that food? And what is the state of the world today with the exporting of Western dietary practices? But if we look right here where we are in the United States, how many adults are on medications for, be it, depression issues or anxiety issues, or physical issues, heart disease issues, diabetes, cancer, all of the slew of things that are common and considered common in our culture. But look at the food. Let's be using common sense. When you walk into a supermarket and there are packaged foods and processed foods and bottled foods and beverages and everything that you look at, that's really the majority of the supermarket and at the checkout line, etc., was that food put on this planet for us to eat? It's plain and simple, right? Whether you say Mother Nature, God, whatever. What was put on this planet for us to eat? Vegetables, fruits, grains, right? Primarily, and legumes. So the plant world was put on this planet for us to have easy access to, relatively easy access to consume, to help us live and thrive. Well, what about meat? Okay, well, meat was something that was much harder to get. And did human beings eat it? They did. But it wasn't something that was accessible 3 meals a day, every day of the year, and more on holidays. So let's just put a perspective, right? So whole foods that were put on this planet, I mean, just break it down to something like that. When you go into the store and you look at something, you go, was this put on the planet for me to eat? Not really. It was something that was created by somebody else to satisfy some sort of taste sensation in your mouth to make you want to eat more. But that's, again, a whole nother talk. So we're just talking about common sense. So look at the food you eat and consider how you feel generally, and most people have very poor diets and don't feel well, and a diet is part of it. It's not the whole, but it is a big part of it. So think about reorganizing perhaps what you eat from the standpoint of what was put on this planet for us to eat. And it does take time to cook food, it does, but it's honestly not as difficult as most people think with a little bit of guidance, and I can offer some of that guidance as well in a future talk. So that's food. Let's talk about physical movement, etc. Right? So Joseph Pilates said, part of the trucks in the background, Joseph Pilates said that civilization impairs physical fitness. There is a truth to that because we lead very sedentary lives, and so then we're going to exercise classes, and we're going to the gym, and we're doing a whole bunch of other things like that to try to have activity. And you know what? That's better than not doing anything at all. But as human beings, we are in a body, and this body needs to move. However you decide to do it, walking around your block, walking around your office, going up and down a few flights of stairs, everybody chooses something different, but common sense. We weren't made to be sedentary. Our bodies are made to move. So movement needs to be part of your life. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It could be cheap, right? But sometimes it's boring and people don't want to. They want a partner. You can, combine a few different things. But remember that movement is really necessary. What else do we need from a common sense standpoint? Oxygen, right? We need some air. We need some fresh air. And we need to have good social surroundings. And this is where I find a lot of people are challenged sometimes because they make choices based upon making other people happy as opposed to thinking about what their needs are for themselves. So, and a lot of people like to draw other people into their drama and into their circles, and a lot of people feed off of that and want that, but it's really a distraction. So it's useful to take a little bit of time to have some quality time alone as well as to have social time, and to really think about the social time that you have and if it serves you, right? So there's another way to incorporate common sense. Does it serve you? Does it make you feel good, or does it make you feel bad? Is it toxic? We often surround ourselves with toxic elements in our lives. So toxic food, toxic people, toxic activities. So just take a step back and have that awareness and say, from a common sense standpoint, what is natural, right? Do we need a lot of sleep? Probably not, but we need to sleep, right? So we can't be not sleeping at all. So we need some sort of element of regular sleep in our lives for our bodies to regenerate. And we need to have or develop, many of us, a connection to the source. So now I'm telling you to turn inward, but then I'm saying we need to have a connection to the source or a connection to the outside world. That simply means, from a common sense standpoint, the recognition that you as an individual human being on this planet, you're not alone. And you are part of this whole that makes the planet and the universe, and however you want to go down that road, but we are interconnected. You have to take care of yourself in order to be a better functioning, and useful and vibrant and exceptional human being on this planet. You have to choose what that means to you. How do you be exceptional? What is it to be exceptional? And what do you want out of your life? But look around your day to day and say, what is, really causing me problems? Do I eat poorly? Do I sleep poorly? Am I stressed all the time? And a lot of people will answer, yes to a lot of those questions. So here's a technique for step one in being able then to take the other steps, right? We talked about evaluating some of the situation. Try to make better food choices. I can't emphasize that highly enough, just by having that mentality. And I'll talk more vigorously about that also at some point. I'm quite passionate about food. I have my own health experience that is really a telling story about the power of food, but all other areas of life. But let's have a technique for today. Coherence. It's a concept from Dr. Alan Watkins, who wrote a book called Coherence. And this book, he used his knowledge and his practice on high-level executives in leadership positions, and they had very high-stress lifestyles. But this technique really talks to ancient practice of meditation and physiological function of our fight-flight response and our stress hormones and our stress response in our body and what happens. So many of us have adrenal fatigue. So let's get right to it. It's about breathing, right? And it comes from the heart, and from a Reiki standpoint or an alternative standpoint in terms of the chakras of the body, which relate to the entire endocrine system. We've got 3 lower chakras and we've got 3 higher or upper chakras, and then the heart is right in the middle. That's number 4. So there are 7 fundamental chakras in the body, and the heart is number 4. It's in the middle, and we as human beings need to live from this place. It helps us to live in our world in a more balanced way, and it's a great, easy technique. So you take the word breathe, B-R-E-A-T-H-E, and we say to, or he says, right, and I practice, breathe rhythmically, evenly, and through the heart every day. So with that, we're going to take our hands to our heart, and you don't have to let anybody know you're doing this. Anybody can do this anywhere, anytime, and nobody has to know you're doing it. So you can use your hands or not. Your eyes can be open or they can be closed. So we're going to breathe in for a count of 3. And breathe out for a count of 3. And breathe in for a count of 3. And breathe out for a count of 3. One more time. And out. You can feel the difference immediately. You hear the change in my voice immediately. Rhythmic, even breathing through the heart. Anytime you're stressed before a presentation, before a test, your kids are driving you crazy, anything that's going, or just to start your day, to work with a client, anything that you're doing, to go shopping, to make better choices, anything that you're doing, you have road rage, take this moment or that moment, and again, we're going to take 4 counts this time. Right? Again. This technique has helped me with my clients. It's helped me in my family life. It's helped me with sports teams of youth that I've worked with before big games, or if they got upset at various calls that were happening from the refs that they were in disagreement with. It can be applied anywhere. Youth can use it, adults can use it. It doesn't matter where you are. You can hear the change in my voice. You can see the change actually in my energy and in my person. And we only did a couple of them. That's what I leave you with today. Coherence, breathing. Take it to your day-to-day life. Use it and you will have more joy and more light. I also ask that you use common sense in thinking about what we need as human beings and how we are in this world and what we put into our bodies and then what we can give off. Thank you.